Have you ever wished you could simply let go of the emotional baggage that weighs you down? That feeling of being constantly affected by external events, the opinions of others, or even your own past regrets? It's a common struggle, a silent battle many of us face daily. We often find ourselves caught in a cycle of worry, anger, or sadness, wishing for a way to break free. Emotional detachment isn't about repression or becoming an uncaring person. It's about building a powerful inner resilience, a mental fortress that allows you to navigate life's storms without being swept away. It's about understanding what you can control and, more importantly, what you cannot. To stop allowing toxic relationships to hold you down or bitter people to leech your happiness. This isn't just some abstract philosophical concept. It's a practical skill that can transform your daily experience, leading to greater peace and freedom. In this video, we're going to explore ancient wisdom and modern insights that reveal how to cultivate this sense of inner calm. We'll uncover the secrets to emotional resilience, showing you how to reclaim your power and live a life less burdened by emotional turmoil. By the end of our journey, you'll have a clearer path to mastering your emotional landscape, and you might just find yourself looking at challenges in a completely new light. So, are you ready to discover how to truly detach? Our exploration into emotional detachment begins with the Stoics, a school of philosophy that flourished in ancient Greece and Rome. Thinkers like Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, and Seneca weren't just abstract philosophers. They were practical guides to living a good life, even amidst chaos. They understood the human condition deeply, recognizing our tendency to suffer over things beyond our control. Their teachings offer a timeless framework for understanding and managing our emotional responses. But why does this ancient wisdom matter to you, right here, right now? Because the challenges they faced, external pressures, the unpredictability of life, the sting of injustice, are remarkably similar to our own. We live in a world that constantly bombards us with information, opinions, and expectations, often leaving us feeling overwhelmed and emotionally drained. You might find yourself constantly reacting to what others say or do, or perhaps you dwell on past mistakes, allowing them to dictate your present mood. This constant external focus can leave you feeling like a ship without a rudder, tossed about by every wave. Together, we will walk through the core principles of emotional detachment, drawing directly from these Stoic masters. You will learn how to identify what truly lies within your power and how to gracefully accept what does not. By understanding these distinctions, you will gain a powerful tool set to navigate your emotional world with greater wisdom and tranquility. With that said, let us move to our first concept in emotional detachment: control. Let's explore the foundational concept that underpins emotional detachment, the dichotomy of control. What is it? Simply put, it's the clear distinction between what is within your power to control and what is not. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus famously taught that our happiness and freedom depend entirely on recognizing this difference. He observed that we often torment ourselves by focusing on things outside our influence, like the weather, other people's opinions, or past events. We become depressed and dragged down when we allow external circumstances to dictate our inner state. Why is this important? Because when you obsess over what you cannot control, you surrender your inner peace. You become a slave to external forces, constantly reacting to the world instead of acting from a place of inner strength. Epictetus urged us to make the best use of what is in our power and to accept the rest according to its nature. This isn't about apathy, It's about acceptance. It's about channeling your energy where it can actually make a difference. Your thoughts, your judgments, your desires, and your actions. When you try to avoid everything outside your control, you inevitably encounter things you wish to avoid, and that leads to unhappiness. The reality is, true progress comes from accepting this balance. How can you apply this? Consider your desires and aversions. Epictetus suggested that a person making progress learns to manage these. Instead of desiring things outside your control or having an extreme aversion to things you cannot change, focus on what you can control and accept what you cannot. For example, you can control your desire for external validation, but you cannot control whether someone gives it to you. You can control your aversion to acting unjustly, but you cannot control whether someone else acts unjustly towards you. Marcus Aurelius echoed this, stating that desire and dislike, opinion and affection are within the power of will, whereas health, wealth, honor, and other such are generally not so. This practice of discerning what is truly yours to command is the first step toward genuine emotional freedom. It allows you to build a robust inner world, resilient to the whims of the external. This understanding forms the bedrock of our journey toward emotional mastery. As Bruce Lee once said, "Be water, my friend." Moving forward, let's examine the concept of preferred indifference. What does this mean? It's the Stoic idea that external circumstances, things like health, wealth, reputation, or even unfortunate events, are not inherently good or bad. Their value, or lack thereof, is entirely determined by our judgments about them. Marcus Aurelius questioned, "Why should any of these things that happen externally so much distract thee?" He observed just how much external events affect us internally, even when they should, by logical sense, hold no sway. Why is this perspective so liberating? Because it shifts the power from external events to your internal perception. If you believe an event is bad, you suffer. If you believe it is good, you rejoice. But if you can cultivate a state of indifference towards things that are outside your control, you reclaim your emotional autonomy. This doesn't mean you don't have preferences. You might prefer health over sickness or wealth over poverty. These are preferred indifference, things you would generally choose, but their absence doesn't diminish your inner peace. The reality is, your opinion of an event is far more impactful than the event itself. Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, "Let opinion be taken away, and no man will think himself wronged." If the concept of being wronged didn't exist in your mind, then being wronged wouldn't exist. This highlights your control over your emotional response. How can you practice this? When something happens that would typically upset you, pause. Ask yourself, is this truly bad? Or am I judging it as such? Can I choose to view this with indifference, understanding that my internal state is independent of this external occurrence? This practice builds resilience, allowing you to approach situations with acceptance rather than emotional entanglement. It's about recognizing that your peace is not contingent on the world conforming to your preferences. This profound shift in perspective empowers you to choose your response, fostering a deeper sense of inner freedom. But we can't forget about another crucial aspect of emotional detachment, one that is invisible, but can be just as poisonous to the mind. Next, let's turn our attention to present moment awareness. What is it? It's the practice of focusing your attention on the here and now, rather than allowing your mind to be hijacked by past regrets or future anxieties. Seneca, another influential Stoic, pointed out that past and future are both absent. We feel neither of them. He argued that we willingly bring suffering into our lives by dwelling on things that no longer exist or have yet to occur. Why is this crucial for emotional detachment? Because much of our emotional turmoil stems from our minds wandering. Anxiety often resides in the future, filled with worries about what might happen. Depression and sadness frequently linger in the past, replaying mistakes or losses. By anchoring yourself in the tangible present, you cut off the fuel supply to these emotional fires. Seneca also observed that there are more things likely to frighten us than there are to crush us. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. This means our fears are often exaggerated, products of our own minds, not objective reality. Recognizing this can bring immense comfort and reduce unnecessary suffering. How can you cultivate this awareness? Mindfulness practices are key. Pay attention to your breath, your senses, the simple act of being. When your mind drifts to a past grievance or a future worry, gently bring it back to the present moment. Marcus Aurelius, in his meditations, often began with gratitude, a powerful tool for grounding yourself in the present. Gratitude shifts your focus to what is good and abundant in your life right now, fostering positivity and inner harmony. He also spoke of the futility of being displeased by external events or fearing bodily harm, noting that once the mind collects itself and knows its own power, it becomes indifferent to such things. This is the resilience built by acceptance, an acceptance of what may come externally, forged by strengthening your internal world. This practice allows you to meet life as it unfolds, rather than constantly battling shadows from the past or phantoms of the future. Lastly, my friend, we must journey to the inner citadel, the resting place of our unshakable self. Finally, let's delve into the concept of the inner citadel. What is it? It's the idea of creating an internal refuge, a fortified mental space that remains unaffected by external turbulence. This concept, deeply explored by Marcus Aurelius, emphasizes the cultivation of your inner world to reduce over-reliance on and the disruptive effects of the external world. It's about building emotional resilience from the inside out. Why is this vital for emotional detachment? Because when you have a strong inner core, external events lose their power to destabilize you. Marcus Aurelius used the analogy of a fire. A small fire can be quenched by obstacles, but a great fire consumes whatever comes in its way, growing stronger. Similarly, by focusing on your inner flame and tempering your inner world through experiencing external stimuli, you can grow stronger and more resilient. This isn't about glorifying suffering. It's about facing challenges head-on, learning from them, and allowing them to forge you into a more resilient version of yourself. He also noted that a man cannot retire better than to his own soul, which whenever he does withdraw himself to look inward, may presently afford unto him perfect ease and tranquility. This highlights the peace and liberation found within your inner world, an experience often central to many Eastern philosophies, such as Buddhism and Taoism. How do you build your inner citadel? It involves regularly withdrawing into yourself, not to escape, but to reconnect with your core values, process emotions, and integrate insights. It's a time to refresh and renew yourself, strengthening your mental and emotional defenses. When you cultivate this inner sanctuary, you become less susceptible to being offended by external things. You recognize that the wickedness of others, for example, often stems from their own ignorance, and it is part of justice to bear with them, out of acceptance, not superiority. This practice of internal retreat and self-fortification allows you to approach life with a calm and collected spirit, knowing that your true peace resides within, unassailable by the outside world. This inner strength is the ultimate expression of emotional detachment, allowing you to live with unwavering serenity. So, how do we bridge this timeless wisdom to your life today? How do you take these profound philosophical concepts and apply them in the messy, unpredictable reality of your daily existence? It begins with conscious practice, with small, consistent efforts to shift your perspective and reclaim your emotional agency. Consider this. The next time you find yourself caught in a spiral of worry about something you cannot change, perhaps a past mistake or a future event beyond your control, pause. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, is this within my sphere of influence? If the answer is no, consciously choose to release control of it in your mind. This isn't easy, but with practice, you can train your mind to let go. For example, if you are stuck in traffic, instead of fuming, recognize that you cannot control the traffic. You can, however, control your reaction to it. Use that moment to practice present moment awareness, perhaps by focusing on your breath or observing your surroundings without judgment. Meditation is one effective daily practice for anchoring yourself in the present and building your awareness of thoughts. Another practical step involves reframing your judgments and language. When someone says something that offends you, or an event doesn't go your way, challenge your initial emotional response and inner narrative in purely objective terms. Is it the event itself that is causing your distress, or your interpretation of it? Can you choose to view it with a degree of indifference, understanding that your peace is not dependent on external validation or perfect circumstances? This doesn't mean you become a doormat or numb. It means you choose not to suffer unnecessarily. It means you cultivate an inner freedom that allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. By consistently applying these practices, you will gradually build a robust inner citadel, a sanctuary where your emotional well-being remains unassailable, regardless of what the world throws your way. This is what starts your journey towards emotional detachment and inner liberation. In the end, our journey into emotional detachment reveals a salient truth. True freedom isn't found in controlling the world around us, but in mastering our inner world. We've discovered that by understanding the dichotomy of control, embracing preferred indifference, cultivating present moment awareness, and building our inner citadel, we can navigate life with an unshakable calm. It's about creating space for authenticity to breathe, allowing us to respond to life's challenges with wisdom and grace, rather than being tossed about by every emotional wave. Perhaps when we stop clutching so tightly to what we think we should be, we finally become who we truly are, resilient, serene, and genuinely free. With all the noise that constantly circles around our life, that toxic relationship, that political conversation that grows heated, that off-handed comment from a stranger in passing, we can all do with a little more emotional detachment, if not to at least give ourselves time to recover and heal. Today, I hope you can take one step towards a happy and healthy inner world, my friend. Thank you for joining me on this exploration into emotional detachment and inner resilience. If this resonated, please share your reflections in the comments below and subscribe for more journeys into the depths of practical psychology and self-improvement. Until next time.